as we welcome Mr. Michael Franklin!
All right, Bournemouth, are we excited to be on a Saturday night? Yes, I'm buzzing to be here. Who's from Portsmouth? Don't worry, mate, I've come in from Portsmouth today. Are you heading back tonight? Tomorrow? Oh, fuck you, no. I'm trying to tag along, save myself a train fare. And I'm very excited to be here, ladies and gentlemen. As I said, my name's Michael. You might recognise it from the spelling attempts he's made on that board. I say I'm a stand-up comedian, and I'm a stand-up comedian that a national newspaper described his one-man show as different. Brave and outside of the box, and several other words that don't mean funny. Now, I am very excited to be here. I say, doing comedy, people ask me what it's like being a comedian. I'm going to pull back the curtain a little bit on one of the downsides of being a comedian. Usually, a show starts about 7:30, 8 o'clock, 8:30, which means on the day that you're performing, you usually don't have the chance to have a proper dinner before you go somewhere. And that was the case today. Before I came in today from Portsmouth, I ate a 99p microwavable burrito. And then got on the train for an hour and a half, and then got an Uber from the station to here. And it's safe to say, by the time I got here, that fucking burrito's kicked in. So I ran straight to the bathroom, because I desperately needed a line of Coke. Do you know what I mean? Just to take the edge off. Now, as I said, I got an Uber here from the station. I got in the Uber, the driver turned to me and went, "Do you know what, mate? I almost didn't accept this ride based on your score." And I thought, fucking hell, what's going on here? Got my phone out, got the app up, checked my score. 3.68 stars as a passenger. The fuck's happened here? I checked my history. Turns out in the last month I received 3 one-star ratings from drivers. And when they leave you a score that low, they have to leave a comment as to why. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you what my comment said, and you guys try to guess how sober I was for any of these trips. Comment number 1, he kept challenging me to a rap battle. Comment number 2, he kept calling me a pussy so I wouldn't race other Uber drivers. And comment number 3, he tried to do a runner from a prepaid taxi. It's the sort of guy I am, apparently. Now, I can already tell that this gig is going to go better than the last gig I did. The last gig I did was in a pub in London. Right, I got to the pub and I went straight to the bathroom. Inside the bathroom, there were 3 urinals. Urinal 1 was being used. Urinal 2 was not. And urinal 3 was being used. I saw that situation, and I went to go use the cubicle, and the 2 lads at the urinal saw that, and they started getting a little bit leery. They went, "Oi! What's the matter with you, mate? Bit shy, are ya? Bit shy, are ya?" And I thought, I ain't having this. My male pride got in the way. So I strutted up to urinal 2, and I took the biggest shit I've ever had. I'm not getting mugged off. I've had a bit of a weird week, ladies and gentlemen. The other day I went to the STD clinic. Give me a cheer if you've been. Alright, good on you, mate. Good on you. So to the rest of the liars in the room, alright, the STD clinic's a bit of a weird place. When you get in there, a nurse will invite you into her office and ask a bunch of embarrassing and personal questions. Question 1, Mike, when's the last time you had sex? I said 3 days ago. She said, did that include oral sex? And I went, you're fucking right it did. And I can tell she wasn't amused by my answer. 1, by her stern face. And 2, by how long it took her to return my high five. And the last thing they ask me this sort of place, she said, Mike, have you ever had sex with someone from outside of Europe? I said, yes. She said, okay, what country were they from? I said, Britain. Thank you for those who are giving the STD joke the clap. Rick, bosh. I don't impress you guys too much, but I was on a podcast recently. Oh yes, and the host of the podcast went, Mike, have you found a magic lamp and you rubbed it and a genie came out and he gave her 3 wishes? 2 are for you and 1 is for the rest of the world. What would you wish for? 2 for me, that's easy. Number 1, I want to be rich. And number 2, I want me and my loved ones to live long, happy, healthy lives. But then I thought, what about wish number 3? The wish for the world. Do I eliminate poverty, cure all disease, world peace? And I thought, no. I know this world needs more than anything right now. And that is an episode of Celebrity Gogglebox where the royal family watched that interview Harry and Meghan gave. Oh, I'd watch the shit out of that, wouldn't you guys? And the thing is, I watched the interview and I thought the maddest part of it was when Prince Harry said that he doesn't watch The Crown. Fuck off. If Netflix made a show about me and my family, I'd tune in just to see who they cast as me. Because in my head, Tom Hardy's the obvious choice. But I think in reality, they just asked Ricky Gervais. That's it. I'm very lucky. I get to go all over the world to do this. And tonight I'm in Bournemouth! Okay, and I have a friend who's never left England before. But every time I tell him I'm going to a different country, he feels that he has the authority to tell me what it's like in that country. Like, I told him I was going to do some shows in Dubai. He was, oh mate, you got to be careful in Dubai. Don't do cocaine there. They don't fuck about. I was like, mate, I don't do cocaine here. Like, what makes you think I'm going to land in Dubai and turn into Pablo Escobar all of a sudden? I said, also, nowhere fucks about with cocaine. That's like super illegal in most countries. There is no Amsterdam equivalent for cocaine. Somewhere where you can go and they have cocaine cafes, and the running joke is that you walk in there, ask the barman, oi mate, can I get some coke? And he goes, is Pepsi okay? And you go, hey lads. Now, I told the same friend I'm going to Australia to do some shows. He goes, oh mate, well, be careful in Australia, watch out for the animals. I was like, which fucking ones? The sharks, the spiders, the snakes, any Aussie more than 2 pints in? And he goes, nah mate, you want to watch out for the koala bears. I was like, why have I got to watch out for the koala bears? He went, did you know over 50% of koala bears have chlamydia? And I was like, mate, what the fuck do you think I'm off to Australia to do? And what pissed me off about that, because that clearly says that Mike does look like the kind of guy that would shag an animal, but not the kind of guy that would do it responsibly. I'm hit with the big news, ladies and gentlemen. Got myself a girlfriend? Yeah, I mean, that's more enthusiasm than she shows about it. Thank you very much, Bournemouth. I'm in what's called a mixed race relationship, and people sometimes ask me, what's it like being in a mixed race relationship? Is it any different than being in a relationship with someone from the same race as yourself? And the answer is no. We argue over the same bullshit that everyone else does. Like, Mike, pick up your socks. Mike, it's your turn to cook. Mike, why are you on Tinder? Do you know what I mean? Like the same shit we all argue over, right? And she said to me recently, she went, Mike, I can't trust you to do the washing up properly. Which to me is insane, because she does trust me to put out properly. And I feel like the stakes are much higher on one of those. She's like, Mike, I don't trust you to get the tea stain out of the mug, but I do trust you not to turn us into a family. Right, so I'll tell you what the situation is. So my girlfriend's initially from India. She moved to the UK 2 years ago. We've been together for 1 year, which means in the last 12 months, I have watched more Bollywood movies than the previous 35 years of my life combined. Now, if you guys have never seen a Bollywood movie before, don't worry. I'm going to tell you how all of them go. What happens, man meets woman, they fall in love, one of their parents has a problem with it, there's a 25-minute dance sequence, and then they get married anyway. And it's the same plot, regardless of genre. It could be a rom-com, a horror film, porn, doesn't matter. It's always the same. Now, because she grew up exclusively on Bollywood movies, it meant she'd never seen a Hollywood movie before, Western cinema. I thought, what would be a good first film to introduce someone to Hollywood? And I chose the film Titanic. So I thought that film's got a bit of everything, drama, tragedy, tits. Again, what more do you want? So we sat down, we watched the film, and afterwards I turned to her. I said, so what do you think of the film? She said, Mike, I thought that film was amazing, but I did not see that twist coming. And I went, what twist? She went, the fucking ship sank, Mike. Where did that come from? She thought it was a rom-com on a boat. And the thing is, right, she's fluent in English, but she doesn't know all of the words. They're still catching up with the lunchtime. Right? She's fluent in English, but she doesn't know all of the words, and that is a difference. Like, early on in our relationship, she texted me, she's like, Mike, how about tonight I come around to your house and we get high? And now, we hadn't discussed drug use in the relationship yet, and the thing is, I didn't see that as a red flag. And I think both men and women do this. The more attractive you find someone, the more willing you are to ignore red flags. Like, do you guys have any idea how many times I would let Ariana Grande stab me before I even began to consider the relationship toxic? Right? Now, also, she said, let's get high. She's not specified. Are we smoking or injecting? Because those are two completely different vibes. One, at least amongst my close circle of friends, is far more socially acceptable. The other one makes her flat smell like weed. So we need to figure out which one we're doing. Right now, it turns out she meant drunk. She didn't know what the English word for drunk was. And she doesn't know any of the slang English words for drunk are either. She didn't know what pissed meant. She didn't know what smashed meant. She definitely did not know what the phrase shit-faced meant. She took that incredibly literally. We were day drinking. I said, how about after this we go to a bar and get proper shit-faced? She went, that's fucking disgusting. If that's the sort of thing you're into, you should have put that on your dating profile, you Roman. Right, but it's going really well. Actually, we went to go meet her family in India last year, which was a huge deal. And she said to me, she went, Mike, before we went, Mike, I know you're a comedian, but you can't make any jokes. You can't roast anyone, you can't take the piss out of anyone. This is far too important, and they already don't like you. Right, and to show you my restraint, ladies and gentlemen, her brother's name is Ashok. And he is an electrician. And I can't say anything? Like, if I had a brother and his job was to inject Botox and his name was Philip, fucking go for it. Or if I had a brother and he had a 1-inch penis and his name was Justin, again, have at it. Now, she said to me recently, she was like, Mike, do you want to do a bit of role play in the bedroom? And I was like, absolutely. And every time it's her turn to pick the scenario that we do, she always picks a situation where she gets to shout at me. And I feel like that's what she's in it for now. Like, she'll go, like, how about tonight, I'll be the boss, and you can be the employee who does nothing right! And the thing is, I'm not going to ask who's done role play in the bedroom here, but if you have, I bet after the role play, you got to have sex. And didn't have to complete 3 separate forms acknowledging your probationary periods being extended. It's gotten to the point now where if she said, how about I invite a friend into the bedroom, I'm no longer thinking, oi oi threesome. I'm thinking, oh no, HR's getting involved. I tried to spice it up, I tried to mix it up. I was like, how about tonight I'll be the doctor and you be the nurse? And she went, Mike, if my fantasy was to sleep with a doctor, I would have fucking stayed in India. Now, as I say, I moved from Portsmouth to London. Any London people here? Oh, one guy who really bowed out of that shit soon on, didn't he? Yeah, oh, no, they're going to think I'm going to stab people. Don't worry, man. Right, I moved to London. I was very excited to move to London. And I live next to a 24-hour McDonald's. And I tell you what, there is no more of a lawless place on this planet than a 24-hour McDonald's at 3 a.m. on a Saturday night. That is pure fucking chaos. I once saw a man in his mid-50s screaming at the person behind the till because the contactless machine wouldn't accept his Oyster card. But the worst thing I ever saw, I was standing behind this woman. Right, she's had far too much to drink on that night. You know those self-service stands where you punch in your order? She's standing there, she's punching in her order, she stops, projectile vomits on her thing. I know, it gets worse, don't worry, I know where I'm going with this. Projectile vomits on her thing, she's down here. She gets up, she scoffs as if someone else did it. And she just looks at it and goes, oh. I know. Alright, and I'm not usually one to get involved in situations, but I thought I've got to say something. But I don't want to embarrass her. Clearly she's having a bad night. Clearly this is not how she intended the evening to go. So I let in to be as discreet as possible, so I could whisper. I just went in, I just went, Mum, you're ruining my birthday. And the thing is, right, I mentioned that I'm from Portsmouth, right, and I moved to London. I thought people had heard of Portsmouth. Everyone knows about Portsmouth. Not the case. Some people have never heard of it. So I had to find a way of describing the general vibe of Portsmouth. Now here's what I've come up with. Portsmouth is the sort of place where if you were to be given the key to the city, there'd still be a little bit of cocaine on it. Portsmouth is the sort of place that would have a tourism slogan that would say, come to Portsmouth, where thousands of French restaurants are just a quick ferry ride away. There is a level of geography knowledge required to get that joke. I appreciate that. Now I'm trying to cut back on my drinking, ladies and gentlemen. I know, how fun. But the problem is, I say, if you're doing what I do, it's very easy to become a drinking habit. You spend a lot of time at pubs, clubs, bars, you want to watch what you're doing. Okay? And anyone who's ever said they're trying to cut back on their drinking, it's because something happened. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you what my something happened was. It was about 6 years ago. Came home from the pub and I was off my face. Has anyone else ever been so drunk that when they got home, they immediately needed a shit? Thank you. We've all been there, at least you're honest. Right? This was the situation I was in. I'd never needed a shit more urgently in my life. So I ran upstairs, I went in the bathroom, I pulled on the light bulb cord and the light bulb popped. And I thought, I ain't got time to deal with this. I'll shit in the dark, it's fine. So I sat down, started the business, and it was at this point that my body decided that food coming out of just the one orifice was not good enough. It had about 3 seconds to decide what I was going to do, because I don't think my aim is good enough to be sick in the toilet whilst I'm sitting on it. So in my eternal wisdom, Bournemouth, I decided to be sick in a little hammock that I created with my trousers between my ankles. And afterwards, I thought, right, I need to clean up. But remember, it's in the dark. So what I did is I got my phone out, put the torch on, held the phone in my mouth to keep it steady so I could use both hands to clean up. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the story about how I found out Facebook Live was a thing. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys have been absolutely amazing. My name is Michael Frankland. Thank you very much.
Michael Frankland! Right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to have a 10-minute break. Go and have a drink. I'll see you back here in 10. Cheers!
James.